Okay, let's be real. If the phrase digital spring cleaning makes you want to just close your laptop and run for the hills, you are absolutely in the right place. In this explainer, we're going to look at digital organization in a totally new way, not as a bunch of chores, but as a genuine practice of self-care.
You know the feeling, right? Your desktop is a sea of icons, your browser is begging for mercy under like 100 open tabs, and notifications are flying at you constantly. It's digital chaos. But what if the problem isn't you? What if the systems everyone tells us to use just aren't built for how our brains are actually wired?
So let's just shift our whole goal here. We are not aiming for some mythical inbox zero or a perfectly curated digital world. Instead, we're just going to focus on creating a digital environment that's supportive, a space that lowers our anxiety and actually works with us. It's all about digital care. To get there, we're going to borrow a really powerful framework from the psychologist Angela Duckworth and see how it applies to our digital lives. We're going to talk about grit.
So what is grit, really? Well, Duckworth's research found that long-term success isn't just about talent or how smart you are. It's about grit, this incredible mix of passion for your long-term goals and the perseverance to see them through, even when it gets hard. It's basically living life like it's a marathon, not a sprint.
And this is where it gets really interesting. The writer and developer who calls herself the Pythoness programmer does this brilliant thing where she adapts this whole grit framework to help us fix our relationship with technology. It's all about building systems that actually spark joy and support the unique way you think. So, we're going to break this down into 3 core principles for applying what we'll call digital grit. First, we audit for passion. Second, we build systems that are tailor-made for our brains. And third, we practice resilient reflection.
Okay, let's dive into this first step. And honestly, this might be the most surprising part of this entire process.
This is a concept called the passion pulse. So before you even think about deleting a single file, you're going to flip the script. You start by identifying what you actually love. What apps get you into that flow state? What software just feels good to use? This isn't about how much it costs. It's about joy and how well it aligns with you.
And a simple worksheet like this makes that whole idea a lot more concrete. You just list out your tools and then ask that one simple question for each. Does this bring me joy? You'd be amazed what you can learn just by focusing on that one column and seeing where your digital energy is really going.
Okay, so now that we've figured out what tools actually spark joy, the next question is, how do we organize them in a way that doesn't feel like we're constantly fighting our own brain?
Yeah, let's just say it. That old school folder inside a folder inside a folder system, it just doesn't work for a lot of us, especially if you're neurodivergent. Our brains tend to make connections based on context or energy, not some strict top-down logic. So let's look at some approaches designed for humans. The first strategy is called context containers, and it's all about creating separate digital spaces for different parts of your life. For instance, the author uses one browser just for focused work, a totally different one for creative stuff and research, and another for personal things. This simple separation acts like a cue for your brain, telling it which mode to be in. It cuts down on that mental whiplash from switching tasks. Now, this next one is a total game changer. Organizing by your energy level, not just by the project. Think about it, right? Some days you're buzzing with creative energy, but you have zero brain power for spreadsheets. So why not build your digital system around that? You could have a folder for low energy tasks or tag things for when you're in deep focus mode. It's about matching the task to your current mental state. And this last one, this one is all about self-compassion. It's called permission-based organization, and it basically admits that, yeah, some days are just hard. Your ability to get things done goes up and down. So you create systems that give you grace, like a simple I'll get to it later folder for things you just can't deal with right now. It's a system designed to work even on your worst days. So we've got our passion tools, we've got our brain-friendly systems, but what about that second part of grit, the perseverance? This is so crucial because this is not a one-and-done kind of deal. It's an ongoing practice. Look, the goal here is not to find some magical, perfect system that's going to solve everything forever. Spoiler alert, it doesn't exist. Our needs change, our tools change. Real digital well-being comes from building a habit of checking in with yourself, seeing what's working and what's not, and making small adjustments. And a tool like this can make that reflection process way easier. The most important part here is that grit goals section. You're not trying to do a complete overhaul. You just pick one small, achievable goal for the month.
It's all about creating those small wins that build momentum and help the habit stick.
And you know what? If even a worksheet feels like too much some days, that's totally fine. Try this instead. It's a tiny 2-minute micro reflection. Just 3 steps. First, notice. Just scan your digital world. What feels good? What feels draining? Second, adjust. Make one tiny little tweak. Close an old tab, move a file. And finally, acknowledge. Just give yourself a little nod, a little credit for taking that moment. That's it. Notice, adjust, acknowledge.
Okay, so let's bring this all home. What's the big idea, the common thread that ties all of us together? Well, it all comes down to creating the right context for your brain. This right here is the core insight. We spend so much time and energy hunting for the perfect app or the perfect productivity system. But often, the thing that makes the biggest difference isn't the tool itself, but the environment we use it in. Creating the right context is everything.
And the author has this great personal story that just nails this point. She was stuck on a task, really struggling, so she just moved it to a different browser profile with a different color theme. And that tiny, tiny contextual shift was enough to unlock her focus. This little change ended up snowballing into this huge creative burst, where she actually taught herself to build a browser extension, all because she'd created a digital space that felt right for her brain. It made problem-solving fun instead of a chore.
So at the end of the day, this isn't about some massive overnight transformation into a perfectly organized person. It's about building that digital grit, that passion and perseverance, one tiny intentional act of digital care at a time. So the real question is this: what is one small change, one tiny thing you can do today to make your digital space feel just a little bit more like you?